Welcome back to NBC Current Affair. The Papua New Guinea Council of Churches has expressed deep concern over the recent surge in killings and lawlessness attacks in the National Capital District. Speaking to NBC Current Affair, General Secretary Reverend Roger Joseph voiced his concern, saying the troubling frequency of violent incidents just as the nation prepares to celebrate its Golden Jubilee is uncalled for. Killings have almost been reported weekly, and the General Secretary, while condemning these acts, appealed to all churches to continue to pray. Meanwhile, the PNG Council of Churches has joined the nation in calling for the enforcement of the Vagrancy Act. Cornet Wangara reports.
Papua New Guinea has seen an increase in the number of killings reported almost every week, amidst concerns over the lack of respect and the barbaric display by some men involved in the killing of a young woman in the early hours of Saturday and the death of a woman by her husband shocked the National Capital District. These have raised significant concerns from the government and other relevant authorities, including stakeholders, to take drastic measures to address these issues. PNG Council of Churches is one of the non-profit faith-based organizations that is amongst those that are being vocal. Church leaders say all stakeholders must work together to ensure these issues are being addressed. Its General Secretary, Reverend Roger Joseph, described these recent killings as uncalled for.
We have seen Papua New Guinea come for the last 50 years. And we are now looking at Papua New Guinea in the next 50 years. We should be conducting ourselves with some decent acts, acts of respect, acts of peace that must display and promote the nation of Papua New Guinea in the next 50 years. We have tarnished, of course, the reputation of our country through all these barbarian acts happening almost every week. And so we want to call on the population of Papua New Guinea outside there. We cannot say that these acts are only done by those who are not employed, unemployed youths, but it's also done by even employers, by public servants. And so this is something that must call to the attention of every individual present.
The PNG Council of Churches has joined the nation in the call for enforcement of the Vagrancy Act. Reverend Joseph believes it's about time the leaders of Parliament seriously look at the Vagrancy Act.
At the same time, I want to make a call on behalf of the churches to the governor of NCD. I think it was last year that he was going to put together the Vagrancy Act, recall it again. I think this is about time we should have leaders of the Parliament seriously look at the Vagrancy Act. We want only those people who can be able to behave in rightful ways to be accepted to be in not only in Port Moresby but in urban centers. Everybody should revert back to their provinces, their wards, develop their wards. I think in the next 50 years, we want all the governors and all the open members to start developing their wards. When they develop their wards, they will keep the population back in their own communities. They won't be willing to come to Port Moresby, to the urban centers. So I think that's the kind of development attitude we should now take, our country should now take.
PNG Council of Churches is also calling on politicians to focus on developing their own provinces, wards and constituencies. Churches are also challenged to develop strategies to address these issues of violence and lawlessness as the country prepares to celebrate its 50 years of independence anniversary.
I think there are three serious questions I want to pose here. First question is, are you a Papua New Guinean? Am I a Papua New Guinean? Second question is, what makes me think and believe that I am a Papua New Guinean? And third, of course, is if I truly believe that I am a Papua New Guinean, then what worth am I to Papua New Guinea as a nation? What am I contributing to the nation's next 50 years? Those should be serious questions we should each individually be asking. What can I contribute towards Papua New Guinea's next 50 years? We've come this way, this far. We've recently lost the last standing leader of our nation. There were so many good things mentioned about him, and we cannot even respect what those good things our past leaders have done. And now we are just unnecessarily killing the lives of innocent people. This is uncalled for.
Reverend Joseph has recommended that politicians can help maintain population growth in their respective areas by developing them. He believes that this approach is the only way to solve some of the pressing issues that currently is spiraling out of control.
Every politician must now look at developing their own provinces and their own wards, their own constituency, so that they can be able to maintain the population back in those ward areas. I think that is the only way where we can be able to solve some of these issues that are now becoming wild. I must honestly say that with everything that's going on in the recent past, Papua New Guinea is seen to be we have a sick society. We have a sick society, people who are sick in their mind, in their brains. They cannot think logically, they cannot think properly. So this is the biggest call to us. At the same time, I want to appeal to all the churches that our prayers are not exhausted. We must continue to offer prayers for our nation of Papua New Guinea. And at the same time, I want to say this, that what's happening, the context that surrounds us today is the context that must challenge the churches to open their eyes and to look for ways and means to address these situations. We cannot say this is evil coming in. No, this is a context that must challenge the churches to come up with strategies that can be able to address these situations.
Speaking on behalf of all the Christians, he says this situation must challenge them to come up with various strategies to address these issues.